Colucci. I'm one of the life coaches at queenbeing.com, where we help you to discover, understand, and overcome narcissistic abuse in toxic relationships. Hello, Duchess. How are you? Let's see. Today, we're going to talk about the unmasked narcissist, what that looks like. Yeah. And how was everyone's weekend? I think it's just us in here right now, Duchess. We will see as people come in. There we go. And then the numbers jumped. Hello, everyone. Okay, so if you need any help with recovery, understanding, or anything related to narcissistic abuse, head over to queenbeing.com and check it out. If you need help with coaching or group coaching, please see the information in the main description of every video. You can find me over there. The group coaching is ongoing. I just started a new group for people who are still with narcissists or newly discarded by a narcissist, or in toxic relationships that they cannot leave, so that there is some support for self-care, for beginning to build a life outside of the toxic relationship, for finding ways to find the strength to leave if that is a possibility, all of that, to help you not just do nothing, right? To give some support for people to begin healing their own lives, even if they are still unable to get out at this point in time, because there are many situations out there where people simply can't. So if that is the case, there is a new group forming. You can find it. I don't have it linked in here. I'll try to get it up as soon as this ends. I'll try to post it up into the main description of every video of this video. So, and then the next one, the next one's for the rest of the week. So, okay, there's that. You can always email me as well, coachlise@gmail.com, coachlise@gmail.com. Last little bit, if you would like texting notification of my going live, text me at 33222, put the word Lise Live, LISELIVE. Did I do that too fast? LISELIVE, in one word, hit send. And I will text you about 10 minutes prior to going live every time. I come on about 4 times a week. So, okay, guys, let's get started. Hit subscribe, thumbs up, all the good stuff, and let's go. We're going to talk about the unmasked narcissist. Somebody last week on here, I believe, said, "What is it like? What does an unmasked narcissist look like?" So we're going to talk about that. Okay. Hello, Mocab. I been doing okay. Having night terrors? No. That's too bad. Hey, Jeep and Gypsy in Iraq, how you doing? Fancy Sprinkles, hello, hello. You haven't been here in a while, have you? And hello, Katie. All right. Okay, let's see. I'm seeing if there's anybody said anything other than hellos. Nope, let's go. All right, the unmasked narcissist. So has anyone seen one? I think we always are seeing bits of it. Okay, it's not always. At least from the time they start the devaluing, you're starting to see bits of what they look like unmasked. That's what I think's going on. All right. They are a bleeding, pulsing black heart beneath the mask. That's pretty much when it gets to the point in a relationship with a narcissistic person where they no longer feel the need to wear the mask, where they pretty much know who they are. This is why it's not such a great idea to let them know that you know who they are if you're going to stay with them. This is why therapy is not a great idea to go to with them, because once they know that you know how they truly are, and they are they're seeing that you're staying with them anyway, pretty much in their eyes, because of the entitled, grandiose, self-importance that they have, that means that you accept them as they are, right? So understand that you don't really want to unmask them in the sense of letting them know you're unmasking them, and if you're going to not be stepping right away from them, because they will escalate the toxic behavior towards you because they have no need any longer for the love bombing. All right, so this kid ain't gonna be pretty, says the spoiler alert. No, it ain't gonna be pretty. So, unmasked narcissist and projection. What you'll see is, you've seen the darkness on their face, right? That's one thing, is you do see the empty blankness of who they are, right? You see the eyes, the expressions on their face, but in their actions, you might see escalated projection. And the projection, in a way, like they act, they may, a covert narcissist may do something like, you want to talk about something and they act like you're just too judgmental, angry, hostile, or anything to talk to, and then they shut down and do a victim withdrawal or a silence. They'll project onto you their own hostilities and judgmental behaviors and judgmental, attitudes and whatever onto you. They, I want to say about the projection, it's instant, it's quick. Like maybe it used to be before they knew you were figuring them out. It used to be where there would be some gaslighting going on in there, or some way for them to wiggle out of accountability. There's none of that. It's just straight to, well, you're so rude, you're so this, you're so that, right? So the blaming and the projection before you can even have a conversation. That's one big thing. What are you saying? My downstairs neighbor has made me desperate off the wall attempts, including pressing her face against the glass of my front door building, trying to right? Okay. All right. They, what did I write here? I can't read that far. Okay. So there'll be sometimes a total withdrawal. The silent treatment will turn into a withdrawn indifference of just kind of hostility and withdrawn behavior and lack of engagement in any communication with you. So it goes from the engaged seeking of supply in a negative way from you, often into, or sometimes into, like a withdrawal. And then if there any demand made on them while they're in this withdrawal state, any request, even a request to talk, or even a request for anything at all, they will attack, and they'll go into a gaslighting or a, like a smearing kind of attack towards you. Another thing that they might do are basically vindictive attacks that might bring up the past. They're doing what they're doing when they're unmasked is they're doing everything they can to avoid accountability for being who they are, for the actions that they take, for the way they treat you, and for the way they behave. So they're going to do anything they can to deflect it back at you before you say a word. So they know they're unmasked. They don't really care anymore because they still want the supply. So maybe this will go on for a while, then it'll go back to the love bomb devalue cycle in a little while, and then it'll come back to this. But the vindictive attacks are meant to point the finger at you for things that you did in the past, and the reasons that you're hostile, and the reasons that you're judgmental, the reasons that you're angry, and the reasons that you're shut down. So they're going to project it, and then it's like a vindictive attack that brings the past back and throws it at you. And you can't deny it because you probably did some of those things. You did some of those things in response, or rather reaction, to the gaslighting and to the yelling and to the abuse and to the, hostility that they were throwing at you in the past. However, when it's brought up in isolation, often people start at this point to feel like maybe they were the abuser, right? Because the vindictive attacks have some basis of truth, if that makes sense, or half truth. All right. They become emotionally indifferent to the outcome of any issue. So basically, you catch them cheating and they're like, yep. There's an indifference. They don't care. They don't care anymore. You're not going anywhere. You're still supply. You become the doormat supply at that point, but you're still supply. So they're not going anywhere. You're not going anywhere. So who cares? Already caught. You already know who I am. There's an indifference to any time that they are, like some of them will have this indifferent attitude, sort of. You maybe are trying to make it better by saying, okay, let's work this out. Let's talk about this. Let's figure out how we can make things better. And there's total indifference from them. They don't even engage in it anymore. So when they're unmasked, they're in absolute self-protection mode, and they are in the mode of totally avoiding all accountability, and they are oftentimes ready for the discard at this point. If they stay, I hear a lot of people who live with long-term with the unmasked narcissist, and they say, they never, at a certain point, they just never seem to come back. At a certain point, they just never seem to do the love bombing anymore. It was just always bad. It was always like living with someone who hated me. The truth is they hate themselves, right? What you're seeing is underneath. You're seeing, it's basically what's always there. It's just you're able to see it. It's not that they take, like, here, look at me. Well, sometimes it's more that you see more and more the truth of who they are. And so there's no need for them to hide it. Not even need. There's no reason. Okay. Sometimes they'll play victim, the victim playing. And if you guys have anything, go ahead and add it in, or any questions or anything unrelated to this. Anyone has anything coming up for them, go ahead. Sometimes they'll play the victim in order, again, to push the accountability onto everybody else so they don't have to face who they are and how they are and the way they treat people, right? So playing the victim is another one. If they plan on staying and they're not in the middle of a discard, they sometimes will begin to reestablish power. So a lot of this, what we're talking about, is ways of reestablishing power. They need to have power, and in every relationship, they need to feel like they are the ones in control of that relationship, rather than two people relating be what creates, a relationship. No, it's a control game, and it's amazing how they can hate you so much yet fall apart when you want to leave, right? Because they need your supply. They need the energy that you provide. They need the services you provide, such as cooking, cleaning, whatever you do for them, anything you do for them. They need the attention, even if it's negative, which is supply, right? So, and they can't be alone. So if they don't have new supply on the hook already, they can't be alone. They can't. They need from other people all the time. So, okay. When they're trying to reestablish the power, they can sometimes get really frenzied and manic about it, and a lot of word salad, a lot of, like if you do talk to them, it'll be explosive word salad, sit down and they'll monologue at you and they'll tell you exactly how it is and all these crazy things that it doesn't make any sense what they're talking about. You ask them one question, they don't answer the question, but instead they ask you 15 questions, that kind of thing, where they're doing anything they can to like insert themselves to gain power. In child custody things, you'll often see a person say, okay, these are some of the things we're going to discuss, and here are 3 things, days and times, appointments, and whatever. So you'll list 3 things and what works for you. The narcissist will come back with, instead of answering the question, because they're unmasked and because they know exactly who they are and they're trying to reestablish power, they'll tell you everything you did wrong, and they'll tell you all the things you're doing wrong with the child. They will attack you. They'll basically attack you, and it'll be this big mix of word salad. So you've completely forgotten what the question was, and you have to come back to what you asked them and say, wait a minute, you didn't answer the question. Just answer the question, please, and ignore everything they said, right? Because it's to reestablish power, they kind of come unglued, and they kind of often, it comes at a really frenzied pace, and it comes out kind of like nonsensical. Let's see. And basically they're trying to prove you wrong no matter what. During the last public Hoover, says Mo Cowboy, he followed me outside and blocked the door. I simply said, step aside so I could get back to the event. I looked at his face, ... And okay. He looked like he was dead. Right. They are empty without their supply. The only time there's anything in light at all in them is when they're feeding, right? And that's not even really behind the eyes. It's only in the facial expressions, not the eyes. Okay, so so whatever they're, sometimes when they're unmasked, when their mask has, when they're either unmasked or their mask is not, or it's slipped, so you're seeing a lot of who they truly are. They will escalate whatever their go-to method of abuse is, whatever their go-to method of gaining power is. So if it's gaslighting, they'll gaslight a whole lot. If they are a narc rager, then they'll narc rage and they'll have their narcissistic tantrums. If they are someone who is very cruel, they will go to the cruelty and attack you in that way. If they're one that likes to smear, they'll smear. If they go for the triangulation thing, you'll be triangulated all over the place. So it's like grasping, right? They're grasping at the thing that they know works to put them back in the position that they see themselves as. We have to remember that narcissist creates a world, a delusionary world of what they think they are. They don't have a personality in that, like, this is actually who I am. It's who I think I am is who I'm going to be. And I'm going to create that pretend person, and everyone has to fall in line because it all serves the narcissist, right? It goes back to them. So in order to recreate that, they often go to the things that work really well for them. So you might see an escalated, the thing that is their main thing, you might see it get worse. Okay. The cowboy says, yeah, nothing in the face or the eyes, nothing. Look like a still lifeless corpse. Ugh. Right? All right. What is an unmasked narcissist? What is underneath all of the fake and all of the lies? Pretty much is miserable and shut down human being. There is a miserable person that is avoiding and hiding from themselves, their true self, by pretending that they are, by believing the delusions that they are so great and amazing, right? So it's not becoming a good person and becoming great and amazing because of the great and amazing deeds you do and thoughts you have and whatever. It is this hiding of, like, the way we evolve is by looking at the stuff we need to change, right? It's looking at the stuff in our life that we need to work on in order to become more elevated, better, whatever you want to call it, truer to ourself individuals. A narcissist doesn't do that. They won't look at those things. They push them back and project them forward onto other people so that other people are accountable and never take accountability and never make the changes. So that's what's underneath. That's what's underneath, and that's miserable. So don't let empathy take over and think that because we know that they're miserable, that means that there's some sort of help that we can give them in order to not be miserable and then make change. It won't work because the fundamental problem is the lack of empathy. And the lack of empathy does not allow them to really care whether all of this affects anybody else. So, you know what? They're on their own. Okay. But their misery can't ever be enough to look at and want to change. No, because it's everybody else's fault. It's everybody else's fault they're this way. It's because the world is, people are stupid and they're beneath them. It's a combination. It's a delusional way of thinking. So no. And it's a combination of that plus the lack of empathy. They don't care what other people think and feel because they can't put themselves in the position of another person in the same way someone with empathy can. They can relate if they've had the experience. If they have lost their job because of layoffs, then anyone who loses their job because of layoffs, they might be able to relate to, because it's an experience that directly relates to something they've experienced. Does it mean they really care about those people? No, it means they think, that person must be going through something right now. I know what that's like, right? It's different than empathy, which is something you've never experienced in your life. You can witness happening to someone and actually feel the connection and the empathic response to it, right? Okay, so no, because they don't have that, there's no need to change. The world should change. They should stay behind pushing it back and not looking at everything, and the world around them should change. Hey, Luna.